Hey, you just tuned in for another episode of
Transformers Time Warp.
Hey, before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. There are new Mix of Picks episodes every Thursday. Hey, what's up, YouTube Transformers fans? This is Mike here. Thanks for coming back for another episode. So believe it or not, we have made a dent in this pile of boxes sitting in my family room, but we're gonna make a bigger dent by taking a few of the boxes off of this pile today. We'll get this wrapped one off the pile finally. And how about its buddy? Something from eBay, I think. And last but not least, from Japan. All right, so here we have package number one. As you can see, it's not in a box. I did unpack it from another box at some point. So there's another box in the pile that has this missing. So we're just lucky, and this is a little bit of a bonus. And let's go ahead and have a look. All right, so this is Mastermind Creations Ocular Max Perfection Series. This is their version of Mirage. One of their versions of Mirage, all from the same mold, same styling, but this is the PS-01A, A standing for alternative to their original release, which was just PS-01, which, if you saw last week's episode, highlighted PS-01C and compared it to PS-01A. So multiple versions of this from Mastermind Creations Ocular Max. Go ahead and check out my unboxing and review of PS-01C to see PS-01C as well as the original PS-01, which I prefer. So we're not going to get into unboxing this. I'm just going to move on. I don't know what exactly I'm going to do with this character. Maybe I will resell it. All right, so let's move on to the next package. So we've got some BBTS markings, so probably this is another fan from whom I bought this off of, I'm assuming this was eBay because I haven't bought anything else from anybody off of any other service. So yeah, BBTS box, but this is an eBay buy. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Actually, this is a character that I was afraid I hadn't purchased. So this is a nice surprise. This is some good packaging. I really want to thank the eBay seller for packaging it up so nicely. It's really nice when somebody takes care of what they sell you. Here it is. Yeah, red alert. What's kind of weird to me right off the bat is that this front photo is very dim. As you can see, Takara Tomy is bright white, but the photo on the front here is kind of dim, so that's kind of weird for packaging. Let me go get another character just for comparison real quick. Hang on. All right, here we are, we're back. All right, let me just set this guy back a little bit for comparison. So there we go, there we have our new buy. And these two Carbots I bought from quote-unquote reputable sources, well-known sources, Big Bad Toy Store or tfsource.com, or maybe both. But we have Wheeljack here, and his primary color is white. And we have Prowl here, and his primary color is white. And the box for Red Alert looks really different. This is the MP-14 Plus version, which is supposed to be the cartoon-accurate anime style for Red Alert, whereas the two bots on the outer sides are the original non-anime styles. So maybe there's a difference in packaging, but I am also seeing a little bit of a difference here in this blue. It's a darker blue, whereas these two have a lighter blue backing. And these two also have a nice bold text for the car style. And this one has a very thin text. I don't know if that's maybe just indicative of the anime versions, or if that was a style change to represent Lamborghini differently. But when you see things that strike you as odd compared to other things you've gotten, you can't help but wonder whether or not this is a counterfeit. Because there are not just knockoffs out there, but there are counterfeits. It's a good question. We'll have to see whether or not this is legit, if we can tell. Another thing that I'm noticing here too is you see the standard glow that they have behind the cars. And with Prowl and Wheeljack, it's like aqua blue. Whereas with Red Alert, it's actually just like a blue. Like it's darker and bluer, much like the white in the picture is too. So, interesting. Let's go ahead and clear these other two bots and open up Alert. Oh, first, let's open up the big box and see what was there. All right, so this is a package I got from Japan. I don't remember if this was on eBay or Amazon Japan. I don't think it was from Amazon Japan. Let's take a look at the label. Oh yes, so I have already opened this, but I was saving it for unboxing, so that is why it's opened but not unboxed. So I do know what's inside here. I didn't until I just saw this label again, but it is Mp-11 Starscream, and I'm very excited. This was a difficult figure for me to get, to find at a decent price. Again, if you don't strike when the iron is hot, when the character is out at one of the major sites, then you may miss out on it, and you may have to get it secondhand, aftermarket. And whether you buy it new or used, it can cost you money, and maybe it'll even cost you more than it would have new if you had bought it at the time it was out. Pretty cool to get one of these Japanese masterpiece Transformers from Japan itself. All right, let's check this out. Oh my goodness. So I do already have Mp-11 Starscream in my collection. However, if this one turns out to look legitimate, I will have to compare it with my other one, because the other one is of such horrible production quality, the character, the figure itself, and the packaging internal to the box was so filled with debris that I can't help but think that it's actually a counterfeit. So we'll have to compare the quality of this buy to that buy to see if it really was a counterfeit that I got originally. So here we have Mp-11 Starscream. The box, it's not in perfect condition, but it's not bad. The top looks like maybe it's been faded a little bit, maybe by some sunlight. I don't know how long this has been exposed, or maybe where, maybe a store shelf or something. But it is looking pretty cool. Got the metal print on the side. He's the Destron new leader. Destron as in the name for the Decepticons in the Japanese version of the cartoon. And it's referencing the movie. So this is the 1986 movie version of Mp-11 Starscream, where he has himself coronated in Megatron's absence, assuming he was dead. Nothing super obvious that cries out that maybe this could be a counterfeit, but the box of the other one that I got as well was also pretty darn convincing. So, I don't know if this means anything, but I don't see an imprint from a stamp like most other boxes I've seen have, unless it's just being hidden by this barcode sticker here. I can't say I've bought anything directly from Japan to compare it to, so I don't know. So overall, it's looking pretty good. I thought that the tape on the top might indicate that it's been opened before, but no, it looks like it's actually original tape. I don't know if you can see here, but it's yellowed, and it's also taken some of the paper with it here as it crinkles. So it does look like it's original tape, so that's good. And the yellow, indicates that it's got some age to it. So another thing in favor of it being an authentic MP-11. So we're not going to get into opening it right at the moment. We're going to go ahead and go back to our previous character, the suspect MP-14 Plus, the anime version. And let's go ahead and see if that's a counterfeit. All right, so we've got our Red Alert MP-14 Plus, the anime color version here. We're going to go ahead and do the unboxing and take a look at it. So when I bought this from eBay, I just checked the listing. And the listing had said that it had been opened. It was new, but had been opened to check the contents. So I did look, and there's no tape to be cut through. So we'll just go ahead and open it up. But before I do that, I wanted to follow up on the idea that this might be a counterfeit. So I brought out my official Lambor here, Sideswipe, and it's also a Lamborghini product. And I just wanted to look at some of the differences in the box stylings and colors. If you'll take a look at the Lamborghini logos, Lambor's is a lot brighter, and you can tell the detail. There is a detail here where there's a little bit of shine as if this were a 3D emblem. There's a very, very, very dim version of that over here. And you can see that the print is a lot darker here, as well as it's very difficult to see in person. It's even harder on video, but there is a little bit of that 3D shine, but you can just see the difference. So it's giving more and more credence, I think, to the idea that the images on Alert were stolen and reprinted. Another thing that makes me suspicious about this Red Alert character is that my other two official product boxes have this reflection beneath the characters in the front photos. So you can see the car here in the reflection, and you can see Sideswipe here in reflection as well. You can see the same thing here on Wheeljack as well. You can see him here, and then you can see his scoop there in reflection. So just another little bit of evidence that makes me wonder. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other items on this. For instance, let's take a look at the back of the boxes. So one of the differences that continues to be the same is the color temperature of the photos is different. This one is much more distinct and with a gray and white background on the photos. The gray and white background here has become more blue. So while that could be just representative of an overall production, I don't think it's the real thing. May have to reference another YouTuber to verify this. Perhaps Rocket Punch Army. But another difference that makes me think that it's indeed a counterfeit is that on the bottom, let me turn these over. Now, I guess it could be a cost savings thing, maybe for the anime versions, but the originals have, the non-anime versions, my Lambor anyway, has this holographic sticker here that is the Lamborghini symbol. You can even see that it says official product in the background of the sticker. Then over here on this box, seemingly where that might have gone, I'm assuming this dotted box is where that sticker might have gone, they have instead printed the Lamborghini logo here, but it does look suspicious. You have holographic proof, here that's harder to counterfeit, I guess, and you have a simple print, and that is just a simple print. It's not a sticker or anything. So, there we go. That's my evidence for this being a counterfeit. Let's go ahead and open it up and check it out. All right, looks like he's slipped during the shipping. Oh, the plastic itself is actually cracked and the character has fallen through. So, wow, this is really nice packaging here. Perhaps another indication of its counterfeit status. Look at that. Torn through. It does feel pretty thin. Maybe a little brittle. But, yeah. So the stuff that came out of its bag are these accessories. Gun, rocket launcher. Looks like something, I don't know, maybe that's an attachment point? Hopefully something isn't missing. I don't know if these can go together. Oh, they can go together. Okay, cool. Collector's card and manual. Collector's card looks pretty nice. Decent card stock. Again, though, the photos are a very bluish hue on the white paint. So, not what I'm used to seeing, crisp whites on other packages. Overall, yeah, looks pretty good. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get through this car. So off the bat, on camera, it's looking really nice. Yeah, good details, good color. It's nice in white and red, like you would imagine. Off the bat, something made me wonder if this really wasn't a used and not a new vehicle. You know, evidence maybe kind of mounting here with the broken insert and all that. But it's hard to tell. But there are some apparent nicks or like scratches or maybe just some schmutz on the other side of the window. You got two major marks, perhaps from transformation. And I've got some light scratching here, perhaps from the accessories bouncing around inside the box. But yeah, it's a bummer for something that was supposed to be new. Something about the finish work here doesn't make me feel very confident that this is the actual manufacturer. I mean, you can just see all these little kind of blemishes here. Again, maybe this was from transport with the accessories bouncing around. But, you know, there's a little bit of a nick in the paint here, another nick in the paint there. Here are those scratches on the other side of the window I was talking about, if you can see them, right there. And you just got, you know, kind of shoddy paint, it looks like, on some of these details. See a little bit of light wear there, like the paint isn't very thick. The finish work here on the edge of the window where it was painted to match the body is kind of rough. And probably the worst of it that I've seen is this door panel here, where you can see that it's like speckled. Here's the other half of the door panel. This is the transparent panel that they painted to match the body to complete the door. But you can see that it's not a very good-looking paint finish to the door there. Yeah, just other little marks, you know, like this little inclusion in the paint here, this little spot right there in the center, this little paint wart right here. Maybe I'm looking too far into it. I haven't examined all of my figures like this, but yeah, it's I think it's definitely questionable. So everything else though is looking pretty cool. This wheel doesn't want to turn very well. It seemed to be jammed up there against the bot. The rear wheel is also rubbing. That back wheel's okay, but the rubber is separated from the wheel, if you can see that. Press that back in there. Maybe that'll do it. And the other front wheel is also not moving. It's binding. So, let's see about getting this transformed into robot mode. I'll be right back with that. Okay, so here we go. We've got him in robot mode. He looks really good on camera. However, I think that's a little bit of a camera trick. I'm not really impressed with him that much. Overall, I'm disappointed with my buy. I feel like I got had a little bit here. I don't think he's new. If he is new, they transformed him and they got the inside of that windshield scratched. Also, when I was transforming him, I put the gun in his hand and I rotated the hand, and I was doing it in a very sloppy way, not really caring, but the paint already chipped off just from the rub of the gun across the edge of his wrist here. He transforms well, overall presents well. The gun does not fit in his hand very well, and his fingers actually on this hand are a little bit loose. And I tried both hands, and neither hand does, the gun doesn't tab really well into either hand. So, not sure what's up there, but if it is a counterfeit, then I guess it would make kind of sense that the mold might not be as good. You know, overall, I don't think you could really tell unless you put this right up against an official Takara Tomy character that this was a knockoff, but I think it might be. Watched a video by Bobby Skullface on how to transform this guy. That got me started. And in that video I noticed, I don't know if it's true of all of the anime versions that were output, but Bobby Skullface's tires actually did not have full tread. They were bare in the middle, and then they had the tread on the outer edges where you could see it when it's in car mode. These are full rubber, fully textured tires. So I'm wondering, and show you. Yeah, same thing here on the wheels on the front of the character too. Fully treaded rubber. No partial tread at all. It actually looks better than the one I saw Bobby Skullface have. But overall, I don't think that this character is a real Takara Tomy character. I think this is a very good KO. All I can say is, on your eBay buys, pay attention to whether the description matches the photos. It didn't match in my case. I went back and looked at the listing, and the picture full on showed that it was the anime version on the box, and the description was mistakenly written to say just MP-14. So, live and learn, and before you leap to a purchase, make sure you've looked at the details. That's all I got to say about that for now. We'll move on to Mp11 Starscream, and then we'll come back for a final MP scale comparison with two of the classic Autobot characters. All right, let's get this guy out of here. I am not satisfied with this one for my collection. I am going to be looking for an authentic MP14. Bobby Skullface's video compared those two side by side, and I like the more detailed finishes on the original MP14, whether or not they be cartoon accurate. All right, enough of this guy. Let's go ahead and do this. Does look like original tape. It is yellowed like it's aged. This is exciting. I mean, this is such a big character. To see it come out of the box is just really impressive. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. We'll see what happens when I open up the actual clamshell. On the other character, when I got it, it had a bunch of debris inside the clamshell. So let's see. The gray plastic is looking similar to the one I've got, which had swirl marks, which I remember hearing someplace usually is indicative of a knockoff character. But though the gray looks similar, I'm not really seeing a lot of swirl marks in it. So let's get a closer look. Collector's card and manual. All right, so I am noticing something that maybe I can't really fault MP14 Plus, the anime version that we just looked at for, but the clamshell here is actually cracked as well. So maybe it's just a matter of age. This plastic just doesn't wear well with age. So that's it's one positive thing for MP14 Plus. Let's take a look at the rest of this. Oh. More tape. Okay, as GT short stories might say, rise. All right, it's looking pretty impressive. Let's go ahead and lay it down and take Starscream out. Got his coronation shoulder pads. We've got the little hologram pilot here. And if you notice, it's not to scale with other MP scale transformers, but you know, mass shifting and all that kind of stuff that goes on in the cartoon to explain for the differences in sizes. But it's definitely not the same size human character as in the Ocular Max Sphinx, their version of Mirage. But very cool. And what new Emperor of the Decepticons would be complete without his crown? Nice and shiny crown. Now it is kind of a bummer that it's all just painted. There aren't any actual like jewel accents where these red paint marks are. I believe in the movie they are actual you know, jewels or crystals. So that would be really cool if they had done that level of detail, but still, very cool accessory. And let's pull out Starscream. All right. Right off the bat, let me get the cape first. All right, and here is his royal cape. And it expands. Got a little bit of plastic debris in there, but that's not a big deal. What is a bummer, though, is these mold points. 1, 2, 3, sticking out here all white and scuffing. Not sure how well you can see this, but there is scuffing. See over there on the bottom end of the cape here. Some scuffing here on the ridge. And some major scuffing here. And all from a brand new unpackaged MP-11. Of course, MP-11 has been around for a while. So how many years has this been on somebody's shelf or been bounced back and forth between owners? I don't know. All right. Let me get Starscream into a good pose and we'll take a look at him. All right, here we go. He cuts a pretty impressive pose here, and on camera he looks really nice. He looks really cool. I just have to say that I am just overall frustrated with trying to find MP-11 for my collection. I am not convinced that this is an authentic MP-11. I did some research, and it may very well be an authentic one, but there are just certain things about it that just, I don't know, it's disappointing to find out that MP-11 actually wasn't necessarily all that well produced by Takara anyway. Apparently it had certain issues with being kind of fiddly, not fitting together really well, such as the knees. The knees don't lock, so if you stand it up straight, it just kind of wants to sink. I thought there'd be some kind of lock here on the official MP-11. There doesn't seem to be one, unless maybe the tolerances are just too loose and I need to lock it myself, maybe tighten down a screw. But see, you try to pull it and you think that it would pop into position, but it just sits there. And see if I can demonstrate that. Then another thing here, which apparently is an issue with the official version as well, is just the top half. It just doesn't want to lock in position well or stay there very well. It seems to rely on this one tab in the back. And if you don't have that lined up precisely and jam it down, it doesn't stay. And then it doesn't have a lock. So it seems like maybe that's the only point of it tabbing in, and that's pretty weak. You can't secure the top half of the body with anything but that little tab. So if it sounds like I'm frustrated, I am. I just, I wanted this to be a nice addition to my collection, and I can't get no satisfaction. And then the tail fins here, they're supposed to be on these sliders, and again, these don't. There's not a lot of tension here, and they don't lock. So while this one seems to stay in place pretty well, this one I was having trouble with. And I just don't know, I'm not sure I can really rely on this, especially, I'm not really talking about having to play with this much, but in the aspect of just being able to set it up fairly quickly and well with a pose, it's frustrating. Maybe I've got an official one. Maybe it's just that this wasn't well designed and manufactured in the first place. I watched TM Reviews. They did a video, he did a video on his comparison of a known KO versus his official MP-11. And a lot of what I'm talking about here is pulled from that, and I'm seeing similar things here. And he was saying that MP-11 wasn't necessarily that well produced either. At this point, I'm frustrated with my MP-11 search. I've attempted to buy it twice. This may or may not be an official Takara Tomy production. Herein lies the frustration with counterfeit products. How can you be sure you've got the real thing? And sometimes, the knockoff might be better than the real thing, but when things are wrong with what you've got, how are you supposed to know that that's the real product's fault or if that's the knockoff product's fault? So, it's a mixed bag with intellectual property. At this point, I've gotten so frustrated with searching for MP-11 that I actually started looking seriously at a fourth-party option and am considering perhaps buying that to see what kind of quality difference I can get, because if a third-party or fourth-party option can give me the character and it's a good quality with good features and good function, then I'm just going to have to leave MP-11 alone, I think. Another fiddly bit about this thing is his fingers. His hand was a more basic design than maybe hands are now. He's got 3 of his digits put together for simplicity. So you can, give him a cool pose, split his fingers here. But these 3 do stick together. And this hinge joint is not very good. Just trying to bend it over to fold it in for a fist, it just pops right out. Now I have a similar problem with my other version of this, and I don't know if that's because they're both counterfeits or because it's just a bad design directly from Takara Tomy. So, you can definitely see why, oh, there we go, and then the whole palm just came off. So I'm just going to leave that there. You can definitely see why KFC, Keith's Fantasy Club, has come out with their own hands for some of the toys. I may look into getting a pair of hands for this unless I just buy a whole different bot. Or maybe in addition. I don't know. Enough about this and my problems. Hey, actually, if you could help me out with your experience with MP-11, I'd love to know, does it sound like the symptoms that I have with this character are because it's an official character or because it's a counterfeit? Yeah, let me know in the comments below if you can tell me hallmarks of what a counterfeit is versus what an official is. Maybe they're just too closely matched to be able to tell sometimes. All right, let's go ahead and check it out in jet mode. Okay, so we've got MP-11 here in jet mode, looking really cool. Yeah, it's frustrating that this thing can be so problematic when it can look so cool on camera. There's definitely some bits about it that don't speak of quality, but overall it does look good. It transformed fairly easily thanks to Xanthera on YouTube for his transformation video, where he did it from robot mode to jet, and then he does it back to robot mode. Couple of points. These tail fins here, one of them doesn't really like to keep its position. It just kind of flops, like it's not seated quite right. So what I did was I flipped these around so that they could hopefully sit at good angles and hold their positions. Now the good thing about this is that the design on either side of the fin is the same. So you just swap them out and they do seem to sit a little bit better this way without this one automatically just flipping up or down once it's pushed a little too far. So there you go. If you have one of these problematic fins, try that fix there. Now this MP-11 KO versus non-KO issue is so frustrating to me that I decided to pull out my Skywarp, and we'll do a little comparison there just briefly. But I'd like to point out first that we have these blemishes here in the plastic, as if this might have been a mold point, but it is kind of raised, so I don't know if that's just a blister or what. You've got this other white mark here, as if maybe it's got a bubble, air bubble or something in it. I thought it was maybe a mold point, but maybe it's an air bubble. You've got this white point here, which is also, some cheaply molded plastic, or seemingly cheap. And you got a similar thing over here, so it probably really is a mold issue. But to compare that, let's bring in Skywarp. Okay, looking good. And as you can see, where there was that blemish, there is no blemish. Even these seams here, where we saw a mold injection point or sloppy joining of the two halves, isn't apparent either. So I think it's more evidence that what I do have with the MP-11 is a counterfeit. Unfortunate, but you got to roll with the punches. So that's it for its jet mode. I could point out, some other stuff, I guess. This cockpit doesn't want to seem to really stay closed. This little landing gear door, when I first opened it, just came off. So it's not really that secure. Paint was already chipped on the backside of the landing gear plate. Seems to be die cast there, but it was already chipped. And I think I chipped it even more when I was just trying to open the gear. You got this split in the nose cone area here, where the mold doesn't come together precisely, which is not a good look. But believe it or not, I think this might be a bot that's in better condition than my other MP-11. So that's it for jet mode. It's time for the Transformers Time Warp Takara Tomy Masterpiece Scale Comparison Test. Here we've got our two standards for our scale comparison. We've got our MP-10 Convoy Optimus Prime, and we've got our MP-21 Bumblebee. And let's go ahead and see how this MP-11 or MP-11 Pretender, whichever it may be, stacks. So there we go. I see no problem with the scale. I think this MP-11 is a good scale for both characters. That's it. To wrap up, there definitely are quality issues here with this MP-11, as well as suspect durability and posability issues that make me wonder if this is a counterfeit. So if you're interested in seeing an actual comparison of a KO versus a known official Takara Tomy MP-11, go ahead and check out TM Reviews. Look for MP-11 KO. You should be able to find the video. Otherwise, that's going to be it for this until I do a comparison, if I do a comparison, of my previous MP-11, which actually is even worse quality, and this MP-11. Also bring in my official Skywarp, which I bought from a reputable retailer, tfsource.com, and we can actually compare an official known product to these MP-11s that I have. So let me know in the comments below if that's an episode that you would like to see, a comparison between my two MP-11s and my official Skywarp. We can try to figure out maybe, I don't know, it just feels like I'm beating my head against the wall at this point. Just a parting piece of collecting advice, whether it's eBay or another listing service where you're buying something from somebody, just make sure that the pictures match the description and vice versa, and it's what you're actually intending to buy. This was an eBay buy as well, and it was from Japan. I can't say that really should make a difference, but I was hoping it did, and I don't know. I might have been stuck with another counterfeit. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for joining me for another episode of Transformers Time Warp here on MixelPix. I'm Mike, and until next time, happy collecting, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe for more MixelPix videos, and leave me your comments below about what you liked and you didn't like about the video. Until next time, see ya.